So far we have been talked about many operations. First, you should be able to know that we have addition and subtraction of numbers. Of course you know about that. Addition, it's possible in the natural number set. Every addition could be said in the natural number set. And when you go to the set to the operation of subtraction, some natural numbers cannot be subtracted. Okay? So then you start talking about the integers. Okay? So you start talking about the integers because in the integer set you can add or subtract any number and you have an integer. But then it comes multiplication, that with integers has no problem, but it comes division. And division of integers, they're going to have a problem because some integers cannot be divided, and then it's when we have the rational numbers. That the rational numbers means a ratio of two integers. But now with our new operation that is powering and roots, we have a new deal. Like for example, how to get the square root of 2. So right now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get the square root. How to relate the square root with a new set of numbers, and we're going to see how to simplify some roots. 2 strategies. Stay here. Okay, so you know already that we have a problem with some roots because there are some roots that are not going to give me a ratio of two integers, that there will be the set of rational numbers. And this is what we call the irrational numbers. So for example, the square root of 2. If you take the square root of 2 in your calculator, you will see that this square root has 2 issues. It's not a finite decimal, and is not a repeating decimal. So any number that is not a finite decimal and is not a repeating decimal is what we call an irrational number. So many roots are irrational numbers. Actually, there are infinitely many options of irrational numbers, but we're talking about roots. You're coming from videos about roots. You just see or you just watch a video of how to simplify roots, so it is expected that we're going to talk about irrational numbers using roots. But there is something pretty cool when you work with roots and irrational numbers. The thing is that when you have the square root of 2, you can have the complete information of the number instead of writing the decimal rounding to any number. So if you want to have the complete information of a number, one way is to rewrite the number in terms of roots of numbers that they would be irrational, like root of 2, root of 3, root of 5, root of 6, root of 7, so on and so forth. Okay? So I'm going to show you 2 strategies to calculate and to simplify roots in a way that you can, in the future, express your findings using this method. Okay, so I'm going to show you the 2 examples with the root of 500. Okay, so with the root of 500, you can have 2 options. I'm going to explain you both options, but maybe in the middle of the video you will see, okay, this option is easy for me, I'm going to apply it from now on. What is the first option? The first option is that you find out that your number, your radicand, is the multiplication of 2 numbers. One that is a perfect square, and the other, it could be or it couldn't be a perfect square. So you need to remember just the perfect squares. The perfect squares are all the numbers whose root is an integer. So for example, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, okay, so on and so forth. Okay, so those are perfect squares because the root is going to be an integer. So I'm going to rewrite my 500 in terms of one of these options. So I'm going to write it as 5 times 100. Now look at, you can see here. Now I'm going to apply a very interesting property of roots, that is that I can split the root in multiplication. In multiplication, not in addition. Multiplication. In multiplication, you can split the root. So 5 times root of 100. And the root of 100 is 10. So that will be root of 5 times 10. Or the appropriate way to write it is 10 root of 5. Okay, so this is how you can have your root in simplest form. This is how to simplify the root. So as you can see, this first strategy is pretty cool because you just need to remember square roots, and using the square roots, and remember perfect squares, and using perfect squares, have the number as the multiplication of a perfect square and another number. But what happens if it's not easy to find out what is the number? What happens if it's not easy to understand what is our multiplication? Maybe it's difficult to find out the perfect square. Maybe I have no idea. Okay? So how to do it? This is the idea of how to do it. The other option is by using prime factorization. I like this strategy number one, when the number is feasible to find out, okay, when it's feasible to find out what is the perfect square you multiply, but when it's not easy to find it, I prefer to use this strategy. Let's say that we're going to do the square root of 384. If I want to do the square root of 384, maybe I don't know how to find out the multiplication, how to deduce what would be the number I need to multiply, but I can do something. That is, do prime factorization. So I'm going to take my radicand, and I'm going to do the prime factorization. So I'm going to divide by 2, that will be 1, 9, and 2. I'm going to divide by 2, so 19 divided 2 is 9, 12 divided 2 is 6, again divided by 2, so it will be 4, and 16, so 8, again divided by 2, it will be 24, oh my god, I'm going to have more notebook, divided by 2, it will be 12, divided by 2 again, it will be 6, divided by 2 again, it will be 3, and now divided by 2, it will be 3. Now look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this expression as 384. It's going to be 2 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3. But look at the strategy that I'm about to tell you. Look at something very interesting that I'm about to show you here, so you can get the root easy, or to get your root quickly. Okay, so don't miss it, because I'm going to show you how you can calculate the root now. What I'm going to do is to rewrite 2 to the 7th power, because my index here is odd, is even, so it's 2. So it's better if I have a power that is even. So I'm going to rewrite this 2 to the 7th power only as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power times 1. Okay? 2 to the 6th power times 2 times 3. Okay? So I'm going to write it here. The root of 384 will be 2 to the 6th power times 2 times 3. And this is going to be awesome because you can split your root now. Okay, split your root now to have root of 2 to the 6th power times root of these two numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. It's an irrational number, so I'm not going to simplify it. I'm going to leave it in this way. And now I'm going to convert this into the rational exponent. If you remember the rational exponent, I'm going to write it here in red. If you remember, the rational exponent will mean that this is 2, 6 divided 2. And 6 divided 2 is 2 to the 3rd power. So 2 to the 3rd power times the root of 6. Maybe I can simplify it to tell that this is 8 root of 6. And this is our second option. So you decide which one is it's better for you. Or try to find out perfect squares and multiply and simplify. Or prime factorization, reorganize the factors to have perfect squares, or if it's even exponents to divide it by 2, and then simplify the expression. Now it's time for you to decide which one is the best strategy for you and what you're going to do next time you will see a root and you wanted to simplify it using your brain. Because remember, even that these things could be done right now by a calculator, stretching your brain and doing math is going to be healthy for your brain. See you the next time. Enjoy your day, and I hope that you understand how to simplify